Thank you for hanging out with me today. I am Bryan, the President and Chief Investment Officer at Bryan Financial Group, the home of AfroEconomics. And today we're talking about how you can actually double your income. Now, I know that some of you are like, this is crazy, crazy, crazy. I have so much to talk about because this is totally possible. How you can take your income and double your income, and how you can make these things happen for you and your family. But it's all based on Afroeconomics. And what triggered the idea was, that a producer, Bill McGee, that does a lot of the 60 seconds, he does all of my recordings. He owns his own recording studio and everything. And he sent me a Facebook post and he tagged me on it, and it was about the player for the Detroit Lions and how he invested 70% of his income. I printed out the article, and it's on my Facebook page and on the AfroEconomics page, and I said that I was going to talk about this today during our workshop session. So Detroit Lions player invests 70% of his income throughout his career and has doubled his money. I'm gonna read more of that to you. And basically, that's all about the fifth principle of Afroeconomics. In the legacy edition of Afroeconomics, of course, we have 10 principles. Get the book. And in principle 5, integrity, and the Adinkra symbol for integrity, I'm using the Adinkra symbols to symbolize each of there's one for each principle. And this means the all-knowing God. Can you see the symbol? And it's about the strength of God and having your own personal relationship with God. And we use that to symbolize that. And definitely, and I would say, but to me, that is a symbol of the all-knowing God. And I cannot say the West African word for it, but I'm sure many of you, hopefully that you can, and I need to continue to work on that. I'm going to work on that. But it's GYENYAME. And I have heard it, many people say it, but it is the symbol of the all-knowing God. So let's look at, I'm going to read from Principle 5 in the Afroeconomics Legacy Edition book. And the Afroeconomics principle of integrity helps us make wise financial decisions. Integrity helps us avoid buying things we cannot afford, because integrity includes staying in touch with your financial reality. That is the first time that I've been doing this live that an ambulance actually went by. That's funny. And it's so warm outside. I was like, oh, I'm going to make sure that the window is open so that because I like it to be hot, because I get all hyped up and it gets warm. So that's funny. But hey, you can tell it's live for real, right? So the Afroeconomics principle of integrity helps us make wise financial decisions. Integrity helps us avoid buying things we cannot afford, because integrity includes staying in touch with your financial reality. Building a false financial position can lead to a lot of lies down the road. This in turn can lead to bills getting behind, credit scores getting destroyed, bankruptcy, and even divorce. No one should look at bankruptcy as an easy way to get out of debt. Bankruptcy must be a very last resort because of its long-term impact on your credit score, employment, and on your financial future. So this world of borrowing money for every purchase encourages us to buy things that we can't afford, and it's really misleading. So make sure you get the book and go on with that chapter, because integrity is, it's about what you do and don't do. It's real, bringing it into your financial decisions. And we just want to kind of think that, oh, we can just, go to church and then, go on and continue to have these bad habits that we're passing on to generation, but it's not true. I have on here, financial challenges do not discriminate. It is not the degree or particular school that we went to that determines our financial position or financial well-being. I have even realized that our integrity, our character, is really our real success. Our integrity is who we decide to be and the things that we decide to do. It's who we are as a person. The degree doesn't make you that person. So that's interesting. I wrote that. So then let's look at the article about the Detroit Lions player who exercised integrity and made this happen for him. Now this brother, Glover Quinn, he says that this is an article out of like the Urban Intellectuals. They followed up on an article that was actually in Business News, and then they brought it in and it was like first, I think, published in October. Then Urban Intellectuals highlighted it December 1st, just a couple of days ago. And it says, wow, talk about investing in yourself. We commonly hear stories about athletes, especially football players, running through all of their money and being broke within a year of retirement. They're spending and not even thinking about life after retirement. Well, Detroit Lions corner Glover Quinn will not be making that mistake. Quinn is something like an anomaly in his field. Unlike most football players, he has been living off of 30% of his salary while investing the other 70%. So he's been living off 30%. Now, of course, he makes like a whole lot of money, but he could be living a lot better. Like he's living off 30% of his salary while investing the other 70%. Although he has a lot of self-discipline, he did admit it wasn't always easy. He has the opportunity to witness his teammates spending what he spends monthly on a daily basis. They spend what he spends over the month on a day. They're buying new cars, new jewelry, and anything else you can think of while calling him cheap. They call him cheap. But is he cheap or is he smart? Is he working from a place of principle number 5 of AfroEconomics, working from a place of integrity? Quinn does have a financial advisor, and most wealthy people do. You need to do that. You need to have it. You need to look into membership of AfroEconomics so that you can say, yeah, I do have a relationship. I am getting feedback. I do have a relationship with JB Bryan and AfroEconomics, and she is helping me work through these principles. He does have a financial advisor, but he says that he also does a lot of independent research before investing. His investment skills are self-taught, and he's been able to double his money by the time his contract, he says that he is in a position to double his money by the time his contract expires in 2017. His contract with the Lions was for $23.5 million, and he is on track of earning over $21 million from his investments. And that says earning, not just accumulating, but earning, like what he can withdraw out of his investments is $21 million. So, you know, that he's saving the bulk of, so his contract was for 23, and let's just say he gets 4,000 a year, $4 million a year of that over $20,000 contract. It didn't say that if it was like a 5-year contract or whatever, they'll just say that it was 20, and he's getting 5 over 4 years, just over 5 million, say over 4 years, and it's about to end next year. So of that 5 million that he's been getting, he's been saving, like 3-4 million of that. Like, come on now. So say he's saving 4 million of his 5 million. So he's saving the 4 million. That's a lot of money. And that's how, because of saving that and investing it. So it's about the return that he's getting on that money. So people look at me like, what in the world? This lady's telling me to save, the 20%. When I say 20%, they look at me like that's crazy. But that when you own your own business, like I'm gonna use myself as an example, that I only pay myself a fraction of what I could be. So it's probably, let's say, which is true, that I allow myself to live off of 10% of what I make. 10% of what I make, I'll allow myself to use that for my standard of living. And in order to do that, just like he did, I had to change the way I do things, because I used to do it the wrong way too. I used to think it was okay to buy things that don't generate any income for you. But now I spend money, I spend and invest. I invest my money versus just spend the money. I want to spend more money on investing in things. I want to make more books. I want to write more books. I want to invest my time in writing more books. I have a book that I'm working on now for entrepreneurship, and I want it out, and that costs money and time. Using my time costs me money. Here's the children's book. Costs money. This one's really expensive, and it's the children's book because it has color in it. You know, so even though the children's book may have taken less time to do, it costs more money to invest in it, but you need those type. If you want to generate the type of returns that he's doing, he was putting some of that money into other business ideas. He had to take on, if he was basically making more than 20% a year on those $4 million, say he was putting away. So that meant he was way outperforming what the stock market has been doing. So what he has meant is he's taking on more risk than things that are really regulated. He was looking at investing in things that aren't regulated. I'm investing the bulk of my income into my business. I don't take it as income. My corporation keeps it so that that's why you even see that in corporate America. We just don't understand it. You might see that the president of the corporation, and they might have made $2 billion last year. His salary may be $150,000, but his bonuses or stock value or the stock bonuses that he received, see, that's because he's investing back into the company. He wants to have ownership into the company. And that's what I'm doing. When I retain earnings into the company, into the corporation, when I build AfroEconomics, you're investing into the business. When you're investing into the future, you're investing in the long-term growth potential. You're investing in your own stock, because all corporations are stock. My corporation is stock. I just own, thank God, I own all the stocks in the corporation. So the more I invest into my corporation and increase the earnings and increase the profitability and increase the products and increase the service and increase, the performance, had to build up the portfolios. AfroEconomics, Bryan has designed 5 portfolios for AfroEconomics. I have to invest in promoting those portfolios. I have to take the time and make sure that the portfolios perform. That's the product that you're building. So what you spend your money on, we have been programmed and taught to just use our income to spend on things, buy bigger things, buy bigger cars, buy bigger houses, buy bigger things. But in most cases, they're not generating any income for you, and they depreciate over time. They're not have any potential for increasing over time. In many cases, there are things that we're buying that just do not have the potential of even paying off for you in the future or creating income for you in the future. And so surprisingly so, even your residential property, you live in it. So unless you're going to put tenants in it, it cannot generate income for you. So it should be a strategy for us to generate income from our property, figure out how to generate income from it, or make sure that it is less than 30% of your income is going for your housing and lodging expenses. Okay, so then this kid, look at this. Quinn is driving a 2009 Yukon Denali. Now it's 2016. Look, my vehicle was 2011, man. He had $23.5 million. Like, you make me feel bad for my 2011, man. 2009 Yukon Denali. And he says he's driving a 2009, like that's my 4th time. It's 2009 Yukon Denali, which I'm sure some of his teammates would never do. It's about planning for the future. What's the point what's the point if it's only for a season? He said, what's the point of being rich? I guess it cut off. We have to start steering away from materialism and focusing on generational wealth. Good point by Candace, who wrote this for Urban Intellectuals. More and more athletes are being more responsible, and hopefully Quinn will inspire them. You're right, Candace. But that is really, really, really true. And one day I'll figure out a way where I can take her article and put it right on the AfroEconomics page so you can have that. But now you have this. And this video, and you know where to go. Go to you can Google Glover Quinn. This is really a true story. And another point that she brought up, another principle in there about Glover Quinn is that, and let me say this, my favorite team is the Dallas Cowboys, but I got to give Glover Quinn his love on him saving 70% of his income. Definitely 70%. Go ahead, man. So that she talked about that we have to focus away from materialism and focus on generational wealth, which is the first principle of AfroEconomics. That is legacy. Principle 1, your legacy, discovering your why, and Sankofa. And I know that if we could do an interview with Mr. Quinn, and I bet he would say that the reason that I am saving so much while I'm playing, and that's what you all should do, because all of we think about professional football players and we go, oh, their career is so short, but many people, we don't know what's going to happen to us. In the scheme of things, a lot of people's careers are short. If you work 30 years and you live another 70 years, your career was short too. He just made a lot more money. But over a 30-year career, you could make as much money as somebody who played football for 10 years. This is what we do with our money. And playing football for 10 years, that's a pretty good run. They get a good jump start. Even if they only play 1 year, if you do the right thing, that can give your finances a good jump start. But for those of us who have normal careers, or because I by far don't have a normal career. I have spent all of my professional life. I started my business in 1995. I have not had a normal professional career, and I have been investing in this business for over 20 years now. So, as things progress and people look at me, they don't realize the effort and sacrifice that it takes to have a 20-year career, a 20-year business, a 20 years of being responsible for yourself, your family, and millions of dollars. So I'm taking care of things and being accountable. Another principle of AfroEconomics. I'm gonna tell you, if we live by the 10 principles of AfroEconomics, we're going to be fine. We're going to be fine. And let me just reiterate. Now, we're talking about you making sure that you save a majority. I want to encourage you to at least save 20%. I think that right now, as we move into 2017, let's make sure that we realize that it is possible to live off of less than what you make, that we could learn to live below our means, that we don't, I used to max it out because of what I knew I could do. But I think that we only think that what we should spend our money on is on these things. But when we look and discover and spend more time looking at investment options and call a financial advisor, hopefully me, and talk about investment options, and you realize there's so many other better things that you can do with your money than what we're spending our money on, that you can invest in your future, you can build a legacy. I think for a lot of us, it's just that we don't know other investment options. So we're always being sold stuff. So we buy stuff. Well, allow me to introduce you to, there are better opportunities, better things for you to spend, invest your money on. I put up today the corporate website, jbbryan.com. And in the corporate website, I'll switch over here, there's a menu section. And in the menu section, and it takes so long for me to get this thing to go over there, but if you go into the menu section and then there's a calculator, you can go into calculators, and I'm gonna, but in the AfroEconomics.com page, you can also click right over to the corporate side. And you go into the menu, and then the menu goes all the way over here. Come on. And we're gonna go down eventually into resources. And I'm gonna go into resources. And then in resources, you would go into calculators. And then when you go into calculators, look at articles, newsletters, videos, AfroEconomics events, tax library about tax articles. Now, look, I went all below, but we're going into calculators. When you go into calculators, we'll ask you like, what calculator do you want? And hopefully it'll go all the way down. But you can even go into, that's not what I was gonna do, but retirement and inflation. And you can even do like the cost of retirement. This is gonna take forever, but, and then you can figure out like how much will it cost for you to retire. Let me see, now I'm down here. Saving and investing, that's the one I was gonna go on. I don't know if it's gonna, that's another calculator. That's the generic one. Then you could do specifically about retirement and the savings goals. Got all in this, but these are the steps that you would have to go through. And then we go into savings goals. It will go, how much money do you have in your savings right now? And how much do you want in the future? And then it goes up to $1 million. I'm gonna have to adjust that soon. And then you would say, how many years do you have to save that? Approximately what return do you expect to get on that? And it says, if you want to get to the 950,000, you have 30 years, you would need to save 10,200 a year, or just under, that's under $1,000 a month. And then you can also put like that was going to, but it wouldn't let, on this browser was saying it wouldn't let it go. But you can just easily go through, you can slide over, you can just put in the numbers. But all of this is on the website, jbbryant.com. So, and you can also go into AfroEconomics.com and click over to the corporate site and look under resources and go into calculators, or email me, jb@jbbryan.com, jb@jbbryan.com, and go, wait a minute, how do I do that again? But thank you so much. And the bottom line is that you can double your income. But this amazing example of saving 70% of his humongous income, just shows us that what we do with our money, no matter what position we are in life, it really makes a difference. But here's something for you to think about. If you do, say you make, this is, I think I wrote this one down, and I did it because the calculators that I have to be very careful not to mislead people and not allow you to mislead yourself. Yeah, so the maximum return that I will allow you to put in is 10%. But he has to be getting some huge returns, in order, way more than 10%. In order to have done things that he's done. But he's, been really fortunate and things have worked out. Of course, it could have worked the entire different way, but he's investing so much that as long as he's diversifying and making some wise managed decisions, and he made a good point, he's getting professional help that he can protect himself, that even if some of the investments don't do as well for him, some of the others may do extremely well and bring up those losses. So here's an example of a person making $60,000 a year, and they decided to save half of that. They saved $30,000 a year, and they had $30,000 to start with. Then they started saving $2,500 a month for 10 years at a 20% return, and they were able to get over $1 million. And with over $1 million, if they take out between 5 and 6%, they actually could be getting, they could double their income within 10 years. But that's a lot. I mean, there's a lot that's got to happen there, and a lot of discipline that's got to come into play, and some really good investments have got to pay out for you. Or, you got to have some, 20% return is extreme. I would not expect you to expect that the stock market, not over a 10-year period, but anything is possible. I guess I'm not going to say it's impossible, but you've got to at least start saving to put yourself in a position for that to happen. You might have some stocks and also have some real estate and have some small business investments that you're doing. So, but talk with me, talk with your financial advisor, talk with a financial advisor, get the assistance that you need, run your ideas by them, but you got to be safe and you got to have a discipline. You got to really want it. How bad do you want it, right? Well, I'm JB Bryan, and that's our talk about doubling your income. I hope you enjoyed it. I found it inspirational. Let's be like the brother at the Detroit Lions. Thank you, Quinn, for giving us discussion today. Maybe in a few years, he'll be coming in and talking. He'll be like doing even better. He'll be live. We'll be live with him. But hey, anything, exactly, right? Remember, anything is possible. Have a great day, everybody, and enjoy the holidays, but protect your money. RefuseToBeBroke.com. Take care. See you soon. Check out the calendar. I got a lot of stuff coming up, even a New Year's Eve discussion, because we got to get it started right. And remember the theme for 2017, turn it down for what? No way. We're not turning it down. We're turning it up. Let's keep it going. I'm JB Bryan, President and Chief Investment Officer at JB Bryan Financial Group, a registered investment advisory firm and the home of AfroEconomics. God bless you. Talk to you next week.